Hey guys, Kevin Shaw, editor-in-chief of the Watercraft Journal. I can see that our early conversation was live because people are already chiming into the comments section. I figured we'll just jump right into it. I do not mean to attack this guy, but I'm going to rehash something that Greg and I were talking about, and then we're going to carry into a conversation. And we're going to do our best to be positive and upbeat about it, but we do want to commiserate a little bit. But first and foremost, how about I introduce Greg Gaddis of the Greenhulk Garage. How are you, Greg? Greg, we can't hear you. And I have a tremendous echo.
Let me try something here.
All right, so just a little bit of understanding, just so everyone knows, we are having a technical problem. Unfortunately, Greg had his good laptop give up the ghost last night, and he said, well, the only other laptop I've got is I've got my tuning laptop. And unfortunately, the tuning laptop gets a lot of wear and tear, a lot of bangs and bumps, and gets wet because he's out tuning and tuning skis. Greg, do you want to try tuning? You want to try using your iPhone?
Yeah, let me do that.
You want me to? How about I send you a link? Or
I've got it on my phone.
Okay. Because you'll have to check out and sign back in, but I'll have you sign back in. All right. Yeah, we're gonna have Greg try to sign back in because it has been really intermittent, even in the last 15, 20 minutes of he and I talking. It would be great, and then it would kick back out, and that's going to be just a nightmare for us to talk because sometimes he'll cut out, sometimes he'll work. So unfortunately, it's one of those things, and it was very last minute. I can't blame the guy. So we're going to try having him tune in with his iPhone, and then we'll see what happens from there. But, oh, here we go. How about that, Greg?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's working good for me. I just know it's not it's not the ideal angle, but hey, at least we got you, right?
Yeah, I can, give me a second. I'm going to prop up the phone.
Okay. So a little bit of background and something that we thought would be worth an exploration is that through the course of our careers, Greg and I equally, although separated by 20, 25 years of experience, Greg and I encounter all sorts of questions, and we encounter all sorts of customers and all sorts of questions, and people who come with lots of experience, no experience, and everything in between. And we thought today might be a good opportunity to go through to go through some of the more popular performance runabouts and even some stand-up stuff. And we thought it might be a good opportunity we have not traded notes. So I'm expecting Greg and I to disagree on stuff when it comes to, all right, RXTX 300. What's the first thing you want to put on it? You know, something like that. So we're going to go over the list a little bit like that. But I wanted to start the conversation with something that I started with, and I'm going to say this with all sincerity because I'm not trying to put anyone on blast. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. But this is an indicator. It's a watermark for where we are currently in the industry. And that is, I got a question today, and I'm sure this gentleman means well. I'm sure he is, sincere in his question. But the question itself was alarming. And Greg and I are going to share our thoughts on this. And I'll read the question. This gentleman asks, his name is Navy Mike. He's from the Navy. He identifies as being a sailor in the United States Navy. All right, Navy Mike. Hey man, I just picked up a 2019 Yamaha EXR ski that I personally really liked. All right. I thought the EXR was a fantastic, really a one-seater, although they claim it to be a two-seater. Fantastic performance, lightweight rec light ski. Okay. So I just bought, he says, I just picked up a 2019 Yamaha EXR. When taking one passenger, the ski feels super unstable and we fall off. Is this common for this ski, or could I have an impeller issue? I weigh about 220 pounds and I'm trying to take passengers who weigh less than me. Now, I had said to Greg, I said, we do not know if Mike is 6'5" or 5'8". We do not know. All right. I weigh 246 pounds. All right. I'm 6'2". All right. I could do to lose some weight. I understand. But at 6'2" and 240 pounds, I am very clearly taking up the entire seat on an EXR. All right. Greg might be more comfortable taking someone his build or smaller on an EXR. It's still going to be a tippy ride. But for this gentleman to ask, is it an impeller? I don't get the connective tissue. Now, I'm not trying to ridicule this person. I'm not trying to berate anyone by any means. But what I do think, and what the conversation I'd like to steer us towards, is we are getting more and more people who have zero technical acumen, one, and almost zero athletic ability riding these machines. Anyone in 1995 would look at an EXR and go, that's a stable ski. All right. I'll tell you what, putting two people on a 2006 RXP 215 was a little bit of a challenge. And that's roughly the same size as an EXR.
Yeah, dimensionally, they're almost identical.
Yeah. So I'm really not, there's no anger in my heart. There's nothing that I'm like, oh, this guy's, but I'm flabbergasted that we got people who are like, I can't believe it's so tippy and we fall off when there's two full-size adults on this tiny, tiny little rec light machine. I mean, I get the tippy it feels tippy on an ST3 with two people. I mean, hey, you got an RXPX 325 behind you, two people on that ski, you'll get body English.
Yeah. Two people on this ski, it performs so wildly different. And this is it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, to think it's the impeller, I mean, there's nothing connecting the two between your impeller and how it is at static state stability or low speed stability. At speed, going straight, it's not going to tip.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that the product, and this is my point to last week's comment, because I had people who were not last week's, but the week before, when we were talking about, the joke was Kevin's making fun of fat people. And I'm like, no. The fact is that manufacturers are building product for people who are less athletic. Yeah. And because they're building product for people who are less athletic, you are now welcoming in a whole new audience of people. All right. Because you do not see the Honda Goldwing purchaser overlap with the Honda 250 lightweight dirt bike guy. Does that make sense?
Right.
Those audiences very rarely overlap. And I think we've, it's the joke, it's the line from Lord of the Rings where it's like they dug too deep and too greedily and they didn't know what they did. And it's like, I think the manufacturers have in wanting to open up access to a larger audience has first alienated or pushed out the younger, more athletic rider who wants something more challenging, because even the stand-ups are more forgiving.
Yeah.
It took skill to ride a 550 or a 650 or a ZXI or any of these super jets. It took athletic ability. It took balance. It took, now don't get me wrong, I've seen really heavy guys go out there and ride a super jet and, perform flawlessly on a super jet, but it's like, hey, the guy's an athlete and he can balance. The guy could probably ride a skateboard for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you make a product that is so forgiving, it's so insulated and it's so forgiving and it compensates for a lack of athletic acumen, then we get a crowd of people who probably shouldn't be on these.
Yeah. And it's aside from that, whether you're athletic or not, you get the mechanical knowledge of people then and people now is not even comparable.
Agreed.
So, his thought of it being an impeller, it's not entirely his fault that he doesn't have a deeper understanding of how it works and why it does certain things. It's just the world we live in now. There's less people that have ever put a wrench in their hand.
Right.
So,
and again, I'm not trying to put this person on blast by any means, but I do think, and I could pull up 10 more samples, and I'm sure you could share examples from your own history.
Yeah, I think examples just from today.
Oh no. No. But I do think we are getting people who are less and less interested. I mean, listen, you come to me interested and you come to me willing to learn.
Yeah.
I'll open up my garage and be like, hey man, what do you want? Let me walk you through what I'm up to. I'll do it all day long till I'm blue in the face. But for the person who's like, I don't need to know, I don't care to know, then okay. Can I share something car related?
Yeah.
All right. So I get back from Hot Rod Power Tour, and I went and did Hot Rod Power Tour in my Charger, and because my Fury that I've been building wasn't ready, I was on a back ordered list for radiators, and it was like I'm not going to burn the midnight oil to put together a 70 convertible Fury just to hope it works. I'm like, I'll just drive the Charger. So I go on and do the Charger, and I got my 15-year-old daughter went with. She volunteered. She wanted to go. So I was like, okay, cool. We had a blast. We had a great time and it was a lot of fun. And the video footage is episode 1, episode 2 are up on the YouTube channel for Mopar Connection Magazine. Episode 3 will be on Sunday. But I bring all this up to share the story. A guy in the comments section sits there and he goes, well, I don't even know why people even bother. Why should I even bother going? And I said, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, I've talked to people who get 25 miles per gallon in their brand new Corvettes, and they spend over $2,000 going on Power Tour. I go, well, food adds up and hotels add up and your entry fee and gas. And yeah, I mean, it adds up. And he goes, well, yeah, what's the purpose? I could just drive 45 minutes and go to a car show that's by my house. And I go, well, yeah, you could do that. He says, so why would I want to drive 5 states over to go spend a week doing this? And I go, well, I think you're missing the point. The point of the power tour is not as, I mean, first, let's be real honest. The guy who built his car, he wants to see if he can do it.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I built this car with my own hands. I want to see if he can do this. You know, it's a little bit of a test. It's bragging rights. Okay. Guys are always looking for bragging rights. Okay, cool. Number two is the experience of it. Hey, I went with my dad last year. Hey, I went with my daughter this year. Hey, I went with a bunch of buddies the year before. I went with my brother a couple of years ago. Okay, the experience of it. And then you get to sit, you meet a bunch of you meet a bunch of dudes who are like-minded, you hang out, you watch the burnouts at the hotel parking lot, you all meet up, you go to some greasy burger place. It's the experience. So you know, what's life but experience? Okay, great. And then ultimately, it's maybe being part of something. All right. For that matter, people join riding clubs for jet ski riding. They join motorcycle clubs. They join car clubs. They, whatever it might be, they want to be a part of something. And this guy sat there and he goes, well, that just seems like a big waste of time. It seems like a bunch of money and a bunch of waste of time. I go, well, you're right. You could stay at home and not spend any money and just watch TV. Yeah. And he's like, well, you don't have to be a smartass about it. And I'm like, I don't think you're understanding. None of us, there's a miscommunication going on here. My point in this is nobody needs a jet ski. Yeah. Let's be real honest. This is a toy. And we're doing this for experience. We're doing this for fun. We're doing this for some form of enjoyment. If not, pick something else. There's cheaper things that are less problematic than a jet ski to enjoy. But I will say this, and this is me being a snob, and I'm trying not to be a snob, but the reality is the guy who goes out there in I'm not trying to single you out, but like a C8 Corvette or a brand new Mustang or a brand new Challenger or whatever like that. That guy probably hasn't turned a wrench on that car. It's brand new. Yeah. Okay. And that guy is likely older, or that guy, I have to laugh because I'm like, when my daughter came to me in like April and she goes, oh, hey, I want to do power tour. I said, you do? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, what 15-year-old teenage girl wants to go, 1,800 miles in their dad's race car, in the summer? I'm like, kiddo, there's no air conditioning. There's no power steering. There's no power brakes. There's no radio. Yeah. And she's like, oh, really? I go, yeah, you've been in the Charger. There's nothing in this thing. It's a race car. You're going in and out of a roll cage. I'm like, it's a rough ride. And she's like, oh, I'm like, I'll bring my little Bluetooth speaker and we can listen to Pandora on my phone. But don't expect, a cool air conditioning or a comfortable ride. These seats are from 1969. There's no lumbar support. And I go, so a little bit is you're not really doing power tour if you're not suffering a little bit. There's got to be some sacrifice. Why this matters to what you and I are talking about. I don't think the jet skis that are on the dealer floor today they don't ask enough of the rider.
No, they really don't.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's very boring. Like the group ride thing on these like astronomically huge wave runners or Sea-Doos or whatever. It's just you don't get wet. It's hot, and you're not getting wet, so it makes the heat even worse.
What if you have a windshield? Windshield's great. It takes all the wind. It takes all the wind off of your face.
Yeah. I had a email today, a guy asking about his new Fish Pro Apex 300.
Oh, Lord.
It's just it's a numb feeling. Now, with that said, there are still some fun ones out there, like the RXPX and the GP, if you go out and push this thing to the absolute limit, you're going to find the breaking point of yourself.
Yes.
But the problem is, like you said, the people buying them are very small or athletic, and they're not pushing them to the limit.
No.
So they don't get the true enjoyment or fun factor from some of the skis that are made today. So, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I jokingly said one time, I think I said it to Dave Bambus when I was visiting. I'm like, doesn't anyone just stand the dealership and just go, no, sir, you really want to be on an FX. You don't need to be on a GP. And just talk people out of buying.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, listen, we appreciate you wanting to buy a unit, but you're going to be better served over here. let's get you on an HO. You don't need an SVHO.
Right. My 99 Sea-Doo has taught me a lot of perspective of how things used to be versus today. That thing it's not fast. I mean, it does, mid 60s the way it's set up now.
Right.
It gets there pretty quick, but I get soaking wet. It turns on a dime. It eats up chop. And you go out there and beat the crap out of the thing and ride it, and it's a very fun experience no matter what you're doing on it.
Right.
So it's just
the experience though of a 99 XP.
Yep.
Is there's nothing comparable currently.
No, nothing.
I would say maybe a Rec Light, but they don't make a Rec Light that goes 64 miles an hour.
No. The Rec Lights don't even, the handling characteristics of it aren't even in the same ballpark.
Okay.
So it's just a crazy level of performance in such a small ski, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller than a Spark, accelerates harder, it's much faster on the top end, turns harder. You go put that thing in 3-foot chop, and it just begs for more. Just keep on pushing it, and it's a ton of fun. And but there is some suffering involved. You're suffering, I guess. You're going to get wet. If you lean too far at a slow speed, it'll tip over. There's no reverse.
It's archaic. It is, But again, like you said, there's I don't want to say suffering, but there's sacrifice.
There we go.
You got to ride standing up, or you got to put your body English into it instead of just sitting stagnant.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but Ergolock does exactly as advertised, and it requires no body English, it requires nothing from the rider.
Yeah.
And to ride it, thankfully, Yamaha still says you got to drop a knee and get over the rail and put some body English on. But it's nothing like riding an XP or riding, a Blaster 2 or any of these skis that you lived and died without, with body weight transfer.
Yeah.
So we have a super chat, and I haven't even brought up what I've got some quasi swag for super chats, and we haven't even gotten into the topic. We're already 25 minutes in. All right. Stuart writes, strictly hypothetical question. If you could combine the Kawasaki Eaton TVS supercharger with the Yamaha 1.9 liter engine, could that fit in a ski, or would it have to be a Yamaha jet boat? Well, first, the Eaton TVS as a standalone supercharger is belt driven.
Mm-hmm.
So adapting that to a gear driven or shaft driven, that's gear driven, gear driven Yamaha would be step number one. Step number two is I personally would not go with the Eaton TVS. I would go with a centrifugal supercharger like a Pro Charger or a Magnuson or something like that.
Yeah. Or back in the day, they put a Vortec on one.
A Vortec, yeah, a Vortec or a Pro Charger. Okay.
But, it's not to say that's a terrible idea, but it kind of is, because that style of supercharger catered towards bottom end power. And
Correct.
the Yamaha's bottom end doesn't need any more power because it cavitates so horribly as it is. You want the mid range and top end on the Yamaha to improve. That would just make a Yamaha an even more cavitation monster than what it already is.
Right.
And the Yamaha blower or supercharger that's on it works astronomically well. So
yeah, the HKS it's a fine fit.
Yeah, they've got people running over 100 miles an hour on the stock supercharger housing. So why change it?
Right. I mean, now mind you, that the hypothetical here could be like, hey, listen, I got a whole bunch of spare parts here, and I can make a Frankenstein. You know, thus is the birth of hot rodding is I got a bunch of spare crap here. What can we make out of it? But were I to consider supercharging a 1.9 liter, I think the best course of action is adapting a 1.8 supercharger onto the 1.9.
Yeah. And with the amount of money that would involve, you might as well just go turbocharger.
Oh, well, yeah. There you go.
And eliminate the clutch problem that Yamaha's had.
There's your answer.
And go faster. Let's boost pressure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Stuart. I appreciate the super chat. Let me bring up what we got here. It's not my laundry buzzer. It is Greg's buzzer that's going off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sorry about that.
My laundry is in the garage behind me. All right, guys, I have some swag, but it doesn't belong here, but I'm bringing up swag anyway. I've got 3 T-shirts and a hat to give away for the best super chats. So, Stuart, how much haul does the Eaton TVS take up? Stop asking. Just stop. You want to know the dimensional size of the Eaton TVS? Just look up the Eaton TVS. I don't know that it's dimensional size. That's all you have to ask. Just how big is it? That's all you need to do. And all you have to do is go on to Google, and you can find the dimensions for the supercharger. All right. So I've got this is stuff I fished out of my closet, and I didn't know if anyone would want it. I have got I don't wear a XX, but I have a XX Mickey Thompson t-shirt. I have a XL TCI Transmissions vintage logo t-shirt. I have a TCI Automotive mesh cap. It's all mesh, so breathe nice. And then I've got a t-shirt. It's an XL. It's gray. I have no idea who these people are. I have no idea where I got it. But it might be a good shop shirt or a rag. But it says Autopia. It is not Disneyland related. But if someone wants the Autopia shirt in XL, I've got that too. Do not have. I have one XX and the rest are XL. I have no mediums. These are just the shirts I've got. So anyone who has a really good super chat, we will offer you a shirt, and then you'll have to email me. You'll have to email me the mailing address as long as it's in the lower 48. I'm not sending anything to Alaska, Canada, or international. All right. So the premise of today's topic, now that we're 30 minutes into this, is Greg and I are going to go over some of the top performance models, and we're going to say our best, I would say best bang for the buck, or the most performance, or the best one part you could put on each unit. And I'm going to count to 3, and you and I are going to say our thing, and then we're going to go back and forth.
Okay.
I was hoping that it would, we wouldn't agree on a bunch of stuff. All right. What do you want? You want to start with Cowi, Yamaha, or Sea-Doo?
Any of them. Flip a coin if you got to.
All right, you guys vote. I'm gonna give you guys 60 seconds. I'm gonna get a bottled water. If you're in the chat, vote for which brand you want us to talk about first. I'm gonna grab a bottled water. Sea-Doo, Yamaha, or Cowi? So I finished my drink already. All right, let's see here. We got 2 for Yamaha, 1 for 2 for Sea-Doo, 2 for Yamaha, 1 for Cowi. That's empty. All right, Cowi 2. Okay, everyone's at 2. 3 for Cowi, 3 for Yamaha. Come on, you guys. Oh, Cowi's in the lead for some insane reason. Sea-Doo, all right, Sea-Doo's catching up. 3. We got 5 for Cowi. 4 for Sea-Doo, 4 for Yamaha, 5 for Cowi. Honda Aquatrax. That's a max boost kit. 6 for Yamaha. All right. We got 10 more seconds. Is it Yamaha or Cowi? What's it going to be, boys? All right, it's Yamaha. Okay. Let Greg decide. Greg said whatever. All right. Let's see here. All right. We're going to do current models, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So GP, we'll do GP.
And now this is if I were to do one mod and one
mod on GP.
So one mod and nothing else.
Yeah. If you're only to pick one mod on a GP, what would it be?
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Reflash.
Ribbon delete.
Ribbon delete. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ribbon delete. Yeah, because ribbon delete, you're going to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
If you don't, you got a ticking time bomb between your legs.
That's true. It's true. I said reflash, but I think you're 100% right. Is ribbon delete. Okay. So would that be the same? Would that be your same answer for the FX?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, any 1.8 liter or 1.8 supercharged. So SVHO, 2018 newer, 2018 and newer SVHO. That's right. It'd be one mod and nothing else. It'd be that.
Yeah. Okay.
Won't go any faster. Won't do anything. But ensure
hold together.
Yeah. You don't have a time bomb.
You're not wrong, man. Okay. That's pretty funny. So GP and FX with the SVHO, you would say ribbon delete.
Yep.
Okay. So what about the HOs?
On that, I would go with the map tuner.
Map tuner. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the map tuner is, you're not hitting any sort of maximum speed on the HO, are you?
No, there's no speed limiter there. But with a map tuner, you're getting a performance tuned, you have a higher RPM limit, so you can turn more RPM and get more speed. So yeah, I mean we're talking maybe a 4 to 5 mile an hour gain just with the tune on that ski.
Right. Now here's a question. And I want to say, was it 22 when they changed the ride plate on the FX?
Yes.
Okay. 21 or 22? I thought it might have been 21.
Yep.
Okay. 21.
22 they changed it.
22 they changed it. Okay.
Yep.
Because I was going to say ride plate for a long, long time. And then I realized, I'm like, no, they fixed the ride plate when they went to the fiberglass FMC.
The ride plate still isn't great. I've tested back to back with the Riva plate and picked up 2 miles per hour.
Okay.
But it's not the snow plow that you were dragging with the older ride plate.
No, that was an anchor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's interesting to know. Okay. Because that was my initial for the FX. was the ride plate until I'm like, well, they changed it. They changed the design of it. But yeah, okay, ribbon delete. It's just a ticking time bomb.
Yep.
GB asks, what does it cost? Meaning the ribbon delete.
$150.
$150 to do, and that's just the kit.
That's just the kit. Yeah.
Okay. And you have to drill that out, right?
Yeah, you have to drill it out.
Okay.
So it is. It's not hard. It's easy to do. It's just a little time consuming. So I'm a little more of a perfectionist than most people. So when I drill it out and pull it out, I just don't put the billet aluminum ring in there. So inside the manifold, you will see the small little lip that is what's holding the flame arrestor from pushing through the manifold.
Right.
Technically, you can leave that in there, but at that point, you have an airflow obstruction. So what I like to do is I use my Dremel tool or an air grinder with some grinding disc on it and some flapper sanders, and I just bore it out a little bit. I get rid of that lip, and I just clean up the manifold so it has nice, smooth airflow transition and no minor obstruction anywhere. So I make the manifold nice and pretty and smooth in there, and then I put the sleeve in.
Oh, you do put the sleeve in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that lip keep the sleeve from moving?
No, so the sleeve is on this model has a flange that sandwiches between the throttle body. So that's what's holding it in there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then you do basically you just do a bore.
Yeah.
A hand bore, and bore it smooth.
Yep.
And then you insert the sleeve, and then you're set.
Yep.
Okay.
So it takes probably, if it's your first time doing it, it might take you 2 to 3 hours for the whole process, but worth it. You can go out and ride it and won't risk destroying your engine.
Right. Okay. And the HOs, obviously there's. You said map tuner for the HOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they carry over all the ride plate, intake grate, sponsons, everything handling wise is identical. It's just the supercharged engine.
Yep.
Okay. I was trying to think of anything for the wave blasters, but I mean, maybe a tune, maybe a nano tune.
Yeah, you'll get a nice improvement even with the map tuner on that. That's probably would be where I started. Of course, every mod that you add to it, it all kind of works together as a package, though. So that's why we have like stage 1 and stage 2. So if you do the whole package, like on an HO ski, you're going from 62 mile per hour on GPS, and I've gotten 72 on GPS out of a 1.8 HO. And that's just an intake, flame arrestor delete, a tune, soulless impeller, and ride plate. So 5 mods that are all very easy for you to install, gain 10 miles an hour on that ski.
On a naturally aspirated ski.
Yep. And the 1.9 is even faster. I know people are getting like 73, 74 out of those. Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, let's that's kind of all the Yamahas. Let's do Cowi.
Okay.
So any of the ultras, they all share the same guts. They all have, all the supercharged 310s, they're all the same. There's nothing different. So what would be your first thing?
Exhaust filter delete.
Exhaust filter delete. I would say ride plate.
Ride plate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you get an improvement on a ride plate, but the exhaust filter delete, that's like another ticking time bomb. You won't blow your motor up, but it'll run like shit when it goes bad.
Right. It's a consumable product. Don't get me wrong. I mean, JD's Waterworld has gone through, 5 of them in 2 years or something like that. But but see, again, he is also extreme ocean application.
Yeah.
He's in salt and brackish water exclusively. So if you're a freshwater guy, you're really not going to have much of a problem with that exhaust filter. And considering the fact that I argue ride plate for a handful of reasons. Number one, I don't see it as I don't see failures there as much as you and your father have shown me with the flame arrestor on the Yamahas.
Yeah.
Where it's broken loose and gone through the engine. And
right.
I've seen failures and clog ups of those exhaust filters, but I just haven't seen the same level of catastrophic failure comparatively. I don't see it. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not denying it. But I would, yes, it voids the warranty. Everything voids the warranty with Yamaha. You use the wrong wax, they'll void your warranty.
Sea-Doo does that too now, because this finish is so damn delicate that if you don't use a Sea-Doo approved product, your whole warranty is out the window.
You guys think I'm teasing. You think I'm joking. You think, oh, the angry ginger's just pulling my leg.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, I've seen horror stories where like someone uses a
McGuire's Marine on it.
Yeah, a coating that they probably shouldn't, and it causes spider cracks all over the ski. And they bring it to the dealer. They tell them, "You're shit out of luck. You didn't use the right product. It's your fault."
It's acrylic. It's like your jacuzzi. It's not paint. But you butt nuggets keep going out there and paint and waxing it like it's a freaking paint job. And it's not a paint job. But they're like, I don't know. I just spent $30,000 on it and I don't know what it is. And they go out there and they ruin it. And then it comes back and it's all hazed. And it has this dull finish. And they go, what happened? I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. And people show up and they're like, well, this is bullshit. You're like, no, you don't know what you bought. You didn't bother to learn anything about what you bought. And you went out there with a buffing wheel and went and hazed the whole damn thing when it's a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
It's a freaking hot tub. I am telling you. It's just, ugh. So why I say ride plate for the Cowi. Number one, Cowies are slower than everyone else. All right. And Cowi guys get ribbed nonstop from all their buddies with Yamahas and Sea-Doos who are wiping the floor with them, even stock out of the box. All right. What a ride plate's going to do. And I recommend the Tim Bushman ride plate, which is sold through Riva. All right. K-Speed's ride plate is, they used to offer two. They used to have like a race one and an offshore one. And then they just kind of went with a regular across the board one. The regular across the board one is good, but I have hands-on experience from the day it was being developed with the Tim Bushman one, which is the TBM Racing, and that one is sold through Riva. All right, that one gets the nose up an increase of 3 to 4 degrees. And it's going to stop nose plowing. And the nice thing about it is that it generates lift at speed. And when you're really picking up speed, it's going to pull up that ski and it's going to get a lot of that drag off of the hull of the Cowi. All right. Excuse me. That extra 2 miles an hour is going to make you feel like you're dancing on air. And for a Cowi guy who's struggling at 67 miles an hour, honestly, with a full tank of gas, you're going 66 and change. All right. To tickle 69 or 70, you're going to think you're Evel Knievel. So I want to give you those 2.5 to 3 miles per hour. Will it handle better? A little bit. But most guys don't even know what the hell handling means. They want to see the speed. And as long as you can hang with your buddy on an FX SVHO and go, look at me, I'm not the last one in the crowd. That's gonna tickle you. That's gonna make your day. So I strongly recommend the ride plate. And I also recommend with that ride plate buying the seal kit or siliconing the holy bajungus out of the damn thing just to get that thing, because it will drag if you don't seal it up. The Cowi tolerances, you can stick your index finger in. They're so big. You're going to want to seal that all to hell. And the reality is that most people don't ride their skis enough, especially Cowis, because they're so damn thirsty. It's like, hey, you want to go cruise my Cummins?
Yeah.
Let's go cruise the town in my freaking turbo Cummins, my 18 valve Cummins. Just forget it. 24 valve, 24 valve Cummins. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, the Cowi guys don't rack up the hours like you see Yamaha guys, especially Yamaha guys who are out there for rolling coal in a Cowi. But yeah, I would say the ride plate. That's my argument for the ride plate. And I say the ride plate for even the naturally aspirated Ultras. STX, oh Lord, the turbo kit. I got nothing for that thing. That just needs so much help. That poor ski. It's just Charlie Brown. It can't win. I feel so bad for it. It used to be the baddest kid on the block, and now it's just a has-been.
Yeah, you're talking about the Cowi?
Yeah, the STX.
Oh,
the
okay.
160s.
Well, I was talking with a guy at Mudbug.
You're talking to who at Mudbug?
What's that?
Who you're talking to at Mudbug?
One of the guys, one of the regulars, but he was trying to gauge my interest on building him a Kawasaki hull with a turbo Yamaha 1.8 in it.
Ugh. Wow. Yeah, the Frankenstein stuff just.
Oh yeah, that's right. You don't like the Frankenstein stuff. I like Frankenstein stuff.
Yeah. The whole GP open class stuff and.
Okay,
and
so.
Okay.
About the open class, I was literally reading the rule book last night and saw they changed a rule. So whatever top deck you have, so this is obviously a Sea-Doo top deck, has to have a Sea-Doo engine in it. So there's going to be no more Sea-Doo top deck and bottom hull with the Yamaha power plant.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that in the rule book last night, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
All right, then you got to see what Dustin Farthing's doing, because he's not going to give up that saddle. But he's only going to run a Yamaha motor. So, but the hull that he runs is a modified T3R.
Right. But
so they're going to have to adapt a Yamaha.
A Sea-Doo design. So yeah, either he's going to have to put a Sea-Doo engine in it, which Yamaha would not be happy about.
Nope.
Or switch to an actual GP.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had it big and bold. I'll send you a screenshot later.
Oh, that's funny. Well, again, see, my approach is so different. My approach at this, because of being a magazine and having done this since, forever, I'm thinking about it as, how does this help the manufacturer sell product? You know what I mean? Top Fuel Dragsters does not help Dodge or Chevrolet or Ford or Toyota sell a car. NASCAR, for that matter, does not help sell Toyotas or Chevrolet or Ford or Dodge, for that matter, anyway, because everything is a car tomorrow. Everything is a tube chassis with a plastic body on it. So it's like, who cares? They're all 5.5 liters or whatever the hell the weird designation is. And it just doesn't represent product. So I always laughed when I saw Sea-Doo or Yamaha say, "Oh, we want open class or GP open," and I'm like, the damn thing could have a helicopter engine in it.
Yeah,
right. It's like, oh, hey, it's got a rotary motor.
Years ago, when Dustin won it, Yamaha Post. Dustin Farthing wins on his highly modified GP 1800. In the picture, is clear as day a Sea-Doo hull.
Yeah.
It just has a turbo GP
With
1800.
a Sea-Doo deck.
Yeah, and it's just a 1.8 Yamaha turbo engine that's in it.
Yeah.
But if you ask them, it's not a Sea-Doo hull. It's a custom carbon fiber hull.
Right.
Very clearly based on a Sea-Doo hull.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's Frankenstein skis running out there. So that change in the rule book for 2025 should make things a little more interesting for the open class, because now they have to stick with the engine that was designated for that hull.
And you know what? Listen, I'm okay if they blow it out and go 2.2 liter, and he puts turbos on it, and or he puts a compound turbo into a supercharger, and it's making freaking 650 horse or whatever the hell he's doing. Whatever, I'm fine. But like you said, I would like to see the engine match the deck.
Yeah.
And now the question is like, all right, well, hey, listen, how far can I modify my Yamaha seat to replicate these Ryorgi Kaza saddles that are locking people in?
Yeah.
So, that's another question. That's another head scratcher. All right, so we did Yamaha, we did Cowi. We have a super chat. Super chat from Henry says, Greg, tell Jerry thanks for his help getting my map tuner and power filter. P.S. I just retired, so my super jet is going to be getting a lot more hours on it. There you go, Henry.
Awesome.
Pass the word along.
Yep.
All righty. Oh, we got another one. We got a few super chats coming in. Which Sea-Doo XP is the best for extreme riding? Year and model. Well, the model is an XP.
Yeah. Well, the 99 XP is the only XP I've ever ridden. And
okay.
I mean, I push that, like do some stuff that I would call extreme, and the majority of people would just call insanity. I was riding it Friday for the Sea-Doo Social Club ride that we did here during the P1 race, and I go across Lake Pontchartrain, which if you guys never heard of Lake Pontchartrain before, it's the biggest lake by far in Louisiana. It has the longest bridge in the world over water.
Yeah.
It's 27 miles across this lake, and I went all 27 miles across it with my finger hammered to the hand grip, wide fucking open the whole way. It wasn't that rough. I mean, it was coming unhooked a little bit, but here at my local lake, in like Lake Barrette, it's 10 miles long, and I mean, it's like a washing machine out there half the time.
I have been out on it.
I'm out there riding with a group of 30 big runabouts that do 80-something miles an hour, some 90 miles an hour, and I'm completely freaking pinned. That nobody is even coming close to that ski cutting through the chop. And I mean, anything you put me on, I tend to do that. But still, that tiny little 500-pound ski is capable of just staying hooked up and doing anything you tell it to. At one point, it was like 2-foot chop, but it was coming sideways as I'm going across. And the ski was legit glued to the water. I've got the throttle pin, and it's just rocking violently back and forth, but going straight as could be and eating it up, never coming unhooked once, flying through this. And I was completely mind blown because I've never had a ski just vacuum to the water, eating it up in that specific condition, because usually they're just coming unhooked and you come back down, and it's a ridiculously cool little ride. You're not going to set any speed records, but you could just do some wild stuff with it. So I like it.
Good. We got some more super chats. In fact, we're gonna have to start giving out prizes for some of these things. Cowi Joey writes, poor STX feels like the redheaded stepchild of Cowies and skis. Somebody has to give this thing a turbo or something for that ski. Now again, we have to understand that this same hull was the STXR hull that was the winningest runabout in 01, 02, and 03. And every major professional racer rode the STX. The problem is that the STX was kind of left to be as it is, first it got the 1.5 liter, and it got the was it the first year it got the 1200, and then it got the 1500, and then it just stayed there. Now the refresh from 3-4 years ago, I wouldn't say helped, but at least pumped some old, some life and some new adrenaline into an old body. But it still isn't comparable to anything that the GTI or the VX offers. The VX is a fantastically balanced ski. It's effectively a detuned GP.
A little bit.
What's that?
It's a little bit heavier.
A little bit heavier, and it doesn't have the intake rate and ride plate. And
no, but the running surface is the same.
Yes. And then I think the GTI remains one of my favorite mid-level recreation class runabouts. I think ergonomically, I think storage-wise, I think everything, balance-wise of the ski, everything about the GTI 170 SE. SE is only just because it has better colors in the sound system, but it doesn't have the stupid obnoxious dashboard. It just has the regular Bluetooth speakers. I think the GTI 170 is a fantastic runabout. Fantastic. Doesn't rattle, doesn't chatter, doesn't do anything stupid. It's probably one of the best handling runabouts. Hell, the freaking hull handles water conditions better than the full-size ST3. No one will listen to me until they get on it. And they go, oh my gosh. And I go, yeah, I know. Don't listen to me. It's okay. Spend your $25,000. But I know I'm right. And a lot of people know I'm right. But, whatever. I'm wearing a Cowi hoodie, so you shouldn't listen to me. All right. We got one more. I've been seeing Jerry Gaddis recommending the Solus 1419 for the Sea-Doo 325s lately as a must-do mod. Is there an advantage to upgrading to the 1419 with just a SCOM, or is this a stage 1, stage 2 power thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the problem is with a SCOM installed, if you don't put the 1419 in it, you're hitting the rev limiter, and you're not going to go any faster. Rev limiter is pulling power back. The 1419 will lower your RPM, but allow you to make 100% power because it's not hitting the rev limiter, and it will go faster. With a SCOM only, and stock impeller versus 1419, I picked up 2 miles per hour on GP.
We lost Greg. Greg, come back. Come back, Greg. What happened, Greg? Oh, I bet you his phone wasn't plugged in. How much you want to bet his phone wasn't plugged in? His phone died. I bet it. I bet he didn't plug his phone in. What a doofus. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, who are our super chats? We need to start giving away some of this crap. All right. Oh, there's Greggy Poo. Here we go. Your phone die?
No. Someone called me and screwed it all up.
That's funny. Was it Duck Off?
No. It was a different guy.
Okay. That's funny. Everyone's like, his phone died. I'm like, I bet you his phone died.
No. Someone had to call me and ruin all of my fun.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, buddy. It was probably Yamaha calling. Get him off that damn show. He's talking to Kevin again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're not happy about me coming on here so much. So we'll see if Greenhulk gets invited to anything else.
Yeah, you'll be invited. Don't worry. You're their best friend as long as your dad shows up.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, Jerry, tell us about the new car you bought. Oh, Jerry. Oh, tell us about all the exotic places you've been to. Sorry, I can't help myself. Those guys are the biggest star effers. It's so funny. Not that your dad's like, I'm no movie star, but it's just like, oh, we love just hearing about people spending lots of money. Tell us about it. Anyway, sorry. All right. Well, we should give away some of these. Does anyone want swag? All right. Let's see. All right. So Fred Zimmer. Fred, you had the last super chat. Good question about the SCOM. You picked up 2 miles an hour over the SCOM using the impeller.
Yep.
So that put you at what, 76, 77?
82.
Really?
Yeah.
On an RXPX 325.
Yep. Now it was like 72 degrees outside, but still.
Okay. Yeah.
72 ain't that cold.
No, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
And now I'm actually having a problem with it. So I had to pitch it to a 1420 to keep my RPM down because this is now approaching 700 horsepower. And I had to pitch it so much that the tips of the impeller started chewing out the stator vanes under load because the blades are touching the stator. And, and now my problem is, even with doing that, I have too much pitch, can't go anymore, and it's still not enough pitch. So at 40% throttle, it was hitting 9,000 RPM. So it's, got some engineering to do.
You said you're close to 700 horse?
Yeah.
What are you running fuel-wise?
E85.
You're on E85.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the data logs were showing like 750 horsepower, which Fuel Tech claims are like extremely accurate when they put it back to back on their dyno. But I'm giving it the benefit of doubt and saying we're going to give it approaching 700 horsepower.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an animal.
Yeah, dude. No doubt. All right. Well, I haven't heard from Fred if he wanted one of these shirts. Let's see if you gave us a super chat. I'm going to go into the live chat. If you gave us a super chat and you want one of these shirts or the hat, claim it, and I'll send you something. It's all automotive stuff, but it's free swag. All right. We got another super chat from Henry. Henry writes, "Hey, Kevin, this has nothing to do with jet skis." Oh, well, then forget it. He writes, "I bought an 84 Yamaha RZ 350 and restored it. Was the last street legal two-stroke motorcycle sold in the U.S. Was it really the last two-stroke?"
Speaking of, my dad, Jerry, he just bought some old street bike, some old Honda 900cc thing. It's red, white, and blue. But something from the 80s. It's like an 86, 85. I forget what the model is. I don't know, some old badass street bike from the 80s.
Yeah. Fred claimed the hat. Fred, the hat's yours. Email me at kevin.shaw@shawgroupmedia.com. Once again, it is kevin.shaw@shawgroupmedia.com with your mailing address, and I will send you the hat. All right. Any other super chatters? You guys gave us a super chat. You can claim one of these 3 shirts. We have the XX Mickey Thompson tire shirt. We've got the vintage TCI transmission shirt. And then we've got the Autopia one, the gray shirt. If you want it, it's yours. You can have it. Oh, Henry. Yeah. You're giving me two-stroke stuff. All right. Which shirt do you want, Henry? Claim a shirt. The Mickey Thompson shirt. He wants the XX Mickey Thompson shirt. All right, that one's yours. Send me your address or I'll forget. Okay. All right, so I guess we got to talk about Sea-Doo.
Yep.
RXPX. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Sponsons.
Sponsons.
Yep.
For the RXPX.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I would now that's funny because I would say sponsons for the ST3.
I'd put it on all of them. That's my answer.
Well, I would too. But if I'm getting on an RXPX, I could live with the sponsons on the RXPX.
Yeah, you could. But the thing with the SCOM is you're going to do 80 miles an hour on a 325 with just the scum. And
Very true.
95% of people are not capable of riding an 80-mile-an-hour ski.
That is also true.
So put the sponsons on, get improved tracking, improved handling, and learn how to ride it. When you can ride the stock ski on the absolute limit with full confidence, then start going faster. Because, 80 mile an hour in most people's hands is just, I think it's a real bad idea. With the novices that we're getting now, aren't the most experienced people. They're not the most mechanically educated. Don't even know how to check their oil level.
Yeah.
An 80 mile an hour ski isn't for you.
All right, I'm going to change my answer.
Okay.
Catch can.
Yeah. So that would be probably my second choice. So the thing with
I did catch can first.
Yeah. So the catch can, it's
taking time bomb. You gave me grief about taking time bombs, man.
Well, so like a Sea-Doo, you don't really need the catch can if you know how to check your oil. The problem is nobody.
Dealers are putting too much oil in.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could definitely see why that. I tell most people, put a catch can on it because I know their oil level is not going to be right.
Right. It's too high.
Yeah.
It's too high. And then the nose pickers at the dealership are just going to put 3 quarts in and call it a day.
Yeah. Well, the dealer actually doesn't put oil in the ski when they uncrate it, which was something I was surprised by. So these ship straight from Mexico with oil in them.
Oh, they do? They're wet. Okay.
Yeah, which I was surprised that they're shipping a unit that is wet. But that's even worse. Some idiot in Mexico isn't getting the oil right from the start. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're sitting there with a gun just going ding, ding. It's like going, quick change oil place. It's literally it's literally digitized into the nozzle, and they just put how many.
Which how accurate is that?
Well, it's not a matter of accuracy. It's a matter that the prescribed level is wrong.
Yeah.
Sea-Doo's telling you put 3 quarts in, and they're going good. Okay, here you go. And it's like, it's like the guy on the assembly line with the freaking torque wrench going, it's 2 ugga-duggas. Okay. He's just, that's all he's doing. And, they're not techs. They're not car builders. The guy who works on the assembly line, building freaking Jeep Liberties or whatever stupid front wheel drive Jeeps there are, isn't going home and building a hot rod.
Right.
I hate to say it, but it's a job to them. What does mom do from 9 to 5? Oh, she puts the wheels on Jeep Liberties or whatever.
Yeah. So, that's definitely something different by, I guess you call a private shop like me versus, a dealer or a Sea-Doo manufacturer person or Yamaha. Like you say, it's a job to them. They don't care. Where everything I do, there's such a level of passion behind it that, the product that you get is wildly different.
Hey, let's be real honest. Not all shops are created equal either.
Oh no.
Okay. I got in a metric ton of grief because I dared to question what's his name? JP, JD, JT, was it Juan Julio, whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Julio
JP.
JP. I hell if I know. And I was like, hey, that's probably not a really great idea to do that. Oh, screw you. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And then 2 weeks later, the ski grenades, and they take the video down, or, everyone's like, hey, Kevin, turns out you were right. And I'm like,
yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
I never met the guy. I don't really pay attention to what he does, so I can't say anything negative about him. But I've heard horror stories. But I've heard horror stories for a lot of different shops.
That's true. And don't get me wrong, not everything I put my hands on is, I've screwed up stuff too. I've never had motors let go in my entire life, but I've installed some front suspension and forgot to put cotter pins in.
Oh yeah.
I was 16, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when I was 16, I did some pretty stupid shit too.
But my point is like, hey, listen, I'm not God's gift to anything, and that's fine. I understand, but yeah, I'm not trying to put anyone on blast. I'm just saying, hey, listen, even some of the most popular shops let stuff slip, and they go, oh, hey, man, I'm really sorry. Hopefully, they stand up. They stand up behind their work and they want to make it right, and whatever.
The problem with people choosing a shop nowadays is they look at the Instagram famous guy and assume that he's got his shit together. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there's quite a few people that have gone to a certain guy that's popular on Instagram famous, and they learn the hard way that they don't know what the F they are doing.
You can just say Ernesto's name. It's okay.
No. It's not. I like Ernesto.
I like Ernesto too. I'm teasing. No, I thought I saw his name in the chat, and I wanted to poke him.
Yeah, no, it's and some people don't give a shit. They'll throw their names out there, the subpar people. But there's probably 3 or 4 different people that really shady business guys and do even shadier work.
Yeah, so, they'll take the money and run, or they'll take your down payment to help finish a build over here, and they're robbing people. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're like, oh, dude, it's tough. It's a really tough thing because it's like, who do you trust and who's got recommendations? And then you see like, well, hey, his shop's really nice. He must be getting lots of customers. I guess he's a reputable shop. I guess I'll go to this guy. And, that's a little questionable. And then you're like, well, these guys want $1 million and there's a waiting list. Or I go, well, there's probably a reason that they got a waiting list and they're $1 million. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, I got guys who are like, well, Riva wants blankety blank. And I go, yeah, to install their own product.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can hop on that ski and never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
They got their name on it.
There's so I've learned a lot of mechanical sympathy just from doing stuff, like building stuff. I know where stuff can fail, where you can take somebody that has zero mechanical sympathy or any mechanical knowledge as to how things work, and they will take a stock ski and absolutely destroy it just from the abuse that they put it under. I got one guy, right? Love him, friend of mine, but he's got a stage 2 ski that keeps chewing up spark plugs. But he'll go out there and ride this 86, 87 mile an hour ski at wide open throttle for 20 minutes at a time and spend the entire day above 7,000, 7,500 RPM. And at wide open, it's like he's running it on the edge so hard and so long that it's the electrodes are
burning the electrodes off?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's running race fuel or E85?
No, he fills this thing up with pump gas and spends the entire day between 80 and 85 miles an hour and never slows down, which sounds like a ton of fun. But if you're on the water for 10 hours a day, I don't care what you got. It's not made to do that.
Nope. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I don't have an answer. It's tough for me because it's like anything really. Hey, do you have a engine shop? Do you have a machinist? Do you have an interior guy? Do you have a paint guy? Do you have a jet ski shop? Do you have a, name someone? And I go, well, yeah, I got a few, but you're going to wait in line and or you're going to pay. I mean, okay, Dana writes, he goes, JP fixed my ski when 2 others couldn't. That's great. I hope you had a really good experience.
Yeah.
And I'm not, again, I wasn't trying to throw anyone under the bus. Please don't think I was. That's not my intent. That was not what I meant. But it's, he's got clients, and he's got loyal clients, and Greg has developed a clientele list, and Riva has, and Dean Sherrier, for God bless him, and all of these people, for what it's worth, you'll see the fruits. It's the old biblical verse. By their fruits you shall know them. And it's like, okay, well, if you see a bunch of people going, I'm never going back to that dude again. Okay, well, now you know. I mean, okay. I'll say this. Like last week, I went on a tear about the Yamaha hull thing. And I said, the reason I still want to give the GP SVHO, and I still want to give the GP HO, and I want to give the FX SVHO Watercraft of the Year. But I can't let them into the freaking running because of the hull failures. I mean, today, a guy on one of the Yamaha groups put up a brand new blue hull with a 4-foot complete delaminated strip, just fibers hanging out. And this guy's like, does this look like delamination to you? And everyone's like, that's textbook delamination.
Yeah. But if you're going to be hard on them, you need to be hard on them too, because these are still cracking.
They're cracking, but are they failing?
Cracking as in it busts through the hull in rough water and they sink. Like it's still a problem.
At the same level of the Yamahas?
So the thing with that is
I see fissures and I see hazing all up and down them. So I have hazing on my GP or my GTR X300, and I barely ran the thing.
Yeah. So it's not as common because it happens when you're riding fast and hit a wave. Maybe not quite right. And a lot of people aren't doing on these things. They're just plowing through it.
They're tourists. They're riding it.
Yeah. At P1 last weekend, one of these cracked the hull, busted it out there, and they had to do a fiberglass repair.
Okay.
I saw one. This one was freaking wild. The whole thing split in half.
That was at Thailand.
I saw another one. Another one happened.
Oh, really?
Split in freaking half. Like these things are still thin paper machines, so they all kind of suck. And
everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel, and the reality is that SMC fiberglass is just going to be the one that holds it the best.
Yeah, they want to get bigger machines and less weight, and the only way to do that is to use inferior materials at the cost that they want to do it. You could build this machine strong as hell out of carbon fiber, and it'd be even lighter than what it is, but the cost goes up exponentially. So to maintain the price point, you got to give and take. So even on the Yamahas, most people won't have a delamination problem because they're not going fast enough for the hull to flex. It's we had a Yamaha start to delaminate at P1 this weekend. His repair was easier than a cracked hull, though.
Right.
So
that's interesting because I would, if I was to create an Excel spreadsheet, I would argue hull failure Yamaha to Sea-Doo is 3-1.
And it might be. It might be.
Now I'm no longer given access. I used to have access for 20 years. But I used to have access to all of the manufacturer warranty claims.
Okay.
And it was always. Now, Yamaha was really cute about how they would dance around it, but there's the initial claim, and then it's what Yamaha corporate chooses to do about it.
Okay.
And a lot of them were bounced back by saying, "Oh, they hit something obviously, or they ran it up a beach, or they ran it up their bunks, or they hit the bump stop on the trailer too hard, or whatever it might be." They would write it, they would bounce it back saying it's user error. But the claims that I saw for hull failure, especially 2018 to 2022, was massive.
Yeah.
It was massive. The numbers were massive. And I was getting hit by the fire hose of people going like, "Hey man, you need to do something about this." I go, I'm not doing shit about this. This isn't my problem.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, in 2018 to 2022, we did have a lot more idiots join the community. So is it a true hull failure, or are they doing something stupid and won't admit it?
Yeah.
Because I will say that the bottom of my GP is extremely ugly. Like the paint is scratched to hell. But I have beaten the absolute ski to death, harder than 99% of people will ever do. And that's not like understating it at all. And I've never had a single delamination problem. Not a one.
Okay.
It's ugly. Now the paint scratched and, it's not pretty underneath there.
Right.
But as far as delaminating and the abuse that I've put that thing through, it has never even come close to it.
My argument for this, parallels exactly what you said previously. It was your previous point. Was a lot of people have, what do they call it? Pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
I argue that a lot of people who encounter delamination, not all, but I would argue a large portion, are people who have had log strikes.
Yeah.
They've ran up on rocks or other protrusions on a beach, and they've made the initial contact that has caused damage to that portion of paint.
Yeah.
And then consistent riding and not addressing that initial damage is where that water is penetrating and finally causes the delamination problem.
Yeah.
I would argue that because knowing you and myself, and I've never had delamination. I've never even had signs of cracking and failure. But people laugh that I'm like, "Oh, I put 20 hours on the ski this year." And they're like, "That's it?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "I put 20 hours in a week." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, great. I have other stuff I do." But I will contend that Yamaha was justifiable in pushing back or bouncing back a lot of these hull claims because they knew full right. They go, "There's your point of impact. That's where it failed."
Yeah.
They never addressed that point of impact.
Yeah. And in today's world, no one ever wants to admit that they were wrong.
Right.
So,
My kid would never do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Your kid brought a knife to school." My kid would never do that. And you're like,
yeah.
We have him on video.
It's the world we live in now. So you'll never get the whole truth out of the shit that's happening with it. But I know from my own personal experience and what I've done, I've had no problems with delamination on any Yamaha ever.
Right.
These are not little baby skis. So like you said, I think they're causing an initial contact somewhere. It's chipping. And at that point, water just rips it behind because they don't fix it. Let your fingernail grow out a little bit and go stick it in the water at 70 miles an hour and see how easily it peels back.
Right.
A lot of user error.
I think there's user error. And then there's the expectation of like, well, it should be built better. And you're like, maybe you should be a more conscientious owner.
Yeah.
Oh, you're blaming the victim. I'm like, this isn't a rape case. This is you not knowing how to operate a jet ski.
Yeah. you're not to be rude, but you're being a dumbass on this thing. What do you expect to happen?
Yeah, I've ridden it with your group. I know how you morons ride, and I've seen you guys try to lock through a lock.
Yeah,
it's freaking bumper cars. They bring barges in there, and you guys can't find the wall until you're on top of it. Holy shit! All right, we got some super chats. Cowi Joey writes something that is baffling to me. There's a rumor that Kawasaki contracts Sea-Doo to make their hulls because the top deck was made by Cowi in the U.S. prior to 2024. Is this true? No, it's not true. None of it's true. Cowi and Sea-Doo keep their manufacturing completely separate. There was never a mix of the two. Sea-Doo was never doing anything for Cowi, and Cowi was never doing anything for Sea-Doo. The only times that you'll see any sort of overlap between any manufacturers is by suppliers. So let's say Greg makes the best hose clamps in the business, and it just so happens that Yamaha and Cowi both like Greg's hose clamps, and they buy them from Greg. That's overlap. You'll never see Sea-Doo popping out Kawasaki hulls. All right. This isn't Star Alliance. This isn't Chrysler and Mitsubishi or Ford and Isuzu or Chevrolet. And Chevrolet did something with somebody. I can't remember who it was. But everyone paired up with other manufacturers, and that's not the case. And then we got another one from Phil. Phil writes, GTI I rode on river in Florida during a summer storm, was glass to chop in minutes, had to fight the bow hunting. What's the best natural aspirating cruising machine that can handle this condition? FXHO. The GTI hull is actually a pretty good recreation-sized hull in most all conditions. VX at speed is going to be your best mid-size rec class hull design because it's identical to the GP. It's the same mold. STX is imbalanced and it bucks like a freaking angry horse. For full size, I would say an Ultra, but better the new ergonomics are pretty good, but fuel consumption, you would be better off on an FXHO. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would go with the VX or FX.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, the Kawasaki, it's going to be phenomenal. It's just big and slow compared to. I mean, if you're looking at naturally aspirated, the Ultra 160 is a turd.
It's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow and it's thirsty, and you're not riding in victory at sea chop conditions every day. No. Unless you said, hey, Kevin, I live off of Dana Point, California, and all I do is ride up and down the coastline. What do you recommend?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. If you're traveling past Trestles, major surf point of Trestles in San Onofre, then yeah, I'd recommend that. Yeah, I think Greg's right going with the Yamaha. Roman, Greg is in Morgan City, Louisiana. He is not in Florida. Now, if you're asking for Greg for recommendations that he likes for shops in Florida, that's up to Greg.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you got. What do you have and what do you want done?
Right.
So
he wants to paint it pink, and he wants to put a bunch of speakers on it. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, if I would probably just give Ernesto a call.
Yeah. Give Ernesto a call.
Give Ernesto a call. I'm sure he's got one hell of a wait list, and he's not cheap. But that's neither am I. If you want me to do a big build right now, I couldn't even tell you when I could get it in. So
right.
So the name of the game.
All right, I think this is gonna be our last super chat because we're at an hour and a half, and I'm done. Happy 4th of July to my favorite Angry Ginger. I did 96 this weekend on my GP. I'm scared, but I love it. All right, very cool. 96 miles an hour, dude. That was a record holder. I remember when the first guys are going 96. That was back at the first mud bugs.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was Frankenstein skis back then, the large GP hull and, running mid-90s.
GP 1300 hull.
Oh, yeah. And it's that was like setting the world on fire with those skis. Now that's like rookie numbers compared to what they're doing now. But, I mean, that was fast.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, wait a minute. Greg Brown writes, would you like to show your viewers an epic Sea-Doo fail crash that happened today? It's the last video on my page. No. I would not like to show people getting injured on Sea-Doos. I am of the generation that used to hand around copies of Faces of Death, if you remember what that was. You ever heard of that? Greg?
No.
Maybe you're okay. Faces of Death. There was a video series back in the 80s and 90s, and all it was unfortunate footage that just so happened to exist of people being killed on camera.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah. Your cars getting hit on train tracks and
they can't
falling out of buildings.
It gets censored.
Oh, yeah. All this. Yeah. It Faces of Death, dude. I remember there was like 4 or 5 volumes of Faces of Death. And it was always one of those things. You're at some party and a guy would put a tape into the VHS player, and all of a sudden it would start playing. You see some guy get crushed in a car accident. You're like, jeez. Yeah. It was awful. And then I remember this as clear as I can remember. There was an old tape. I think it was before Jackass, but it was Bam Margera, and it wasn't Johnny. It wasn't Johnny Knoxville, but it was Bam and somebody else. And the very first opening 30 seconds of the tape, Bam jumps off a skateboard, grabs a skateboard, comes up to his buddy, and hits him across the face with the metal trucks of the skateboard.
Oh, shit.
And just hits him across, knocks his kid out cold. And my buddy had put it in. I go, get this. And it was at my house. And I hit the tape deck, and I was like, get this damn thing out of here. And my buddy Joey's like, well, it's funny. And I go, that kid's got a concussion. I'm like, I'm not watching this crap. But yeah, that was
people do.
What was the? There was an Offspring video that was nothing but kids eating shit on skateboards. It was like 1997 or 98 on MTV, and it was just nothing but 3 minutes. It was an Offspring video of just kids just eating it. And it was so hard to watch because just face planting off of freaking staircases and planter boxes. And you're just like, oh, God, oh. And it made your toes curl. I can't remember what the song was, but yeah, it was an Offspring video. Anyway, well, on that happy note, we're an hour and 33 minutes. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We had a fun time talking. It's always fun having Greg on, even if we're just BSing. If you guys have any what shirts are left? Oh yeah, hey, we've got the Autopia gray shirt, it's XL, and the white vintage TCI automotive shirt, also XL. Kevin, if you want one of those, email me your mailing address and what you select. So many people have failed to give me their addresses and what they picked that I never sent out prizes. So whatever you pick of the two, you can email me and I will send this stuff out this week. All right. But guys, if you have a question for Greg, a technical question, or if you want to get buy your parts through Greenhulk, tell the folks where to find them.
Yeah. So please, and I don't mean to be an asshole about this, but please only contact me at sales@greenhulkstore.com. It is our busy season, and the phone calls, the text messages, the Facebook messages, it's just, gotten way out of hand. I could no longer keep up with it. You got to understand, I'm one guy trying to do a lot of people's jobs. So just out of respect for that, please just email me at sales@greenhulkstore.com, and I will be very happy to help you with anything that you need.
Very cool. All right. And then anyone who wants to text or call his personal cell phone, it is area code. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, no, I am one more bad phone call away from changing my phone number.
Wow, that sucks. I'm sorry.
It's gotten to that point.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat from Justin. And Justin, I got bad news from you. Is weekly frequent use of a floating dock with roller wheels okay on a GP SVHO? No.
No. I don't think floating docks are really good for anything, because what happens, people just let them sit on there an inch above the water and they rot away.
Right. I will make the argument that roller bunks, trailers, or floating docks, for that matter, do not distribute weight equally.
Yeah.
And what that means is that you have very specific pressure points of your ski, which already has fragile automotive paint, just having pressure applied to it. So now, even if the paint was good, you have fiberglass that is now becoming undulating. All right. I'm not a fan of that. And then you have really fragile paint, which now you have flex points, or, actual fissure points. And those are spots where they could absolutely fail. So really, really do not recommend the roller bunks. The entire nation of Australia believes in roller bunks, and they will die on that hill. But I think it's because they've all been poisoned by drop bears. So,
I know a lot of people don't even own trailers, don't own a trailer at all, and just leave the ski on a floating dock. Are you really that lazy?
Yeah.
Terrible. I'm like hundreds to thousands of people. I got an email last week. They let their Sea-Doo, two of their Sea-Doos, sit on a floating dock for the entire winter untouched. And he goes to get on it, and something was wrong with it. Something deteriorated to the point where it was like wouldn't even turn over.
Fresh water or salt water?
I want to say fresh water, but it doesn't matter, fresh or salt, when you let it sit on a dock that long and not moving. I mean, the elements are just going to kill it. In one way or another, it's going to just destroy the machine.
Right. I mean, I'll tell you what, I live in Tennessee, and I get loaner units. I don't own any skis. And I keep them on a trailer, and I beg the manufacturers, I'm like, please give me a cover. Please give me a cover.
Yeah.
And I almost never get a cover. And I'm going to tell you, just sitting in my backyard, the slime and water and bugs and just elements, how they discolor and begin to affect the plastics and the vinyls. I return skis back. I mean, I'll polish them, make them look as nice as possible, but there's wear and damage on it.
Yeah.
And I photograph it, and I said, this is why I asked for covers. I'll put a tarp over it or something like that occasionally, especially if I know it's going to be over the winter. I'll tarp them, but still.
Yeah, these are expensive machines, so take care of them properly.
Right.
It's not that much more difficult to maintain and care for your investment.
I agree. Except that I'm not going to make room in my garage for them. I got other stuff in my garage.
Yeah. Well, the ones you got are getting crushed anyway. So.
Yeah, that's probably true. They're all pre-production. They're all going to get chopped up. So anyway, well, guys, thank you much for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope we had fun. And check out greenhulk.net for the world's biggest forum and performance forum. And, of course, subscribe to the Watercraft Journal for new articles every day, Monday through Friday, entirely subscription free to you. And we'll talk to you later.